Today I'm visiting Salem Chapel in Wales, home to one of the most haunting mysteries in art history. In 1909, the artist S.C. Vosper created his famous painting Salem. It soon became a controversial painting, as many people believed that the devil was hiding in the shawl of the central character in the painting. In this video I'll be going inside Salem Chapel to explore this urban legend. I'll also be visiting the graves of some of the people who appear in the painting. I'm coming up towards the chapel now. I've been meaning to make this video for about 3 years. And here we are. I just hope that the door's going to be open. I think it should be. The only person in the painting who was actually a member of the chapel was a gentleman called Robert Williams, and he's actually buried somewhere in this cemetery. Shortly after Vosper finished the painting, it was bought by the industrialist William Lever. He used the image as a massive promotional campaign for Sunlight soap. People could collect soap wrappers and trade them in for a high-quality print of Salem. This meant that the painting was suddenly in thousands of working-class homes across Wales and the other countries of the UK. The painting became so well known that it was called the Welsh Mona Lisa. As so many people owned a copy of the painting, once the rumour about the devil started, it spread like wildfire. Okay, let's see if it's open. Oh wow. A really strange feeling. I've seen this scene so many times. When I was a kid, we used to go to a friend's house in the morning to wait for him to get ready to go to school. And they had this painting in the hallway of the house. So I used to see the painting every morning before going to school. And I could never spot the devil in the shawl. I probably couldn't find it because I had an image in my mind of what the devil might look like, and it was nothing like what's in the shawl. If you can't spot it yourself, the devil is supposed to be looking to the right. This is his eye, this is the nose, and this is the mouth. By the 1910s and the 1920s, the devil became a tool for religious storytelling, and people began to link the devil to the central figure in the painting. This was a lady called Siân Owen. Because her shawl was so bright and expensive looking compared to the others, rumours spread that the devil was a manifestation of her pride. The clock in the painting shows it's almost 10 a.m, suggesting she is walking in late to make an entrance, further fueling the vanity narrative. Now, it was painted in the year 1908, but it depicts a much earlier scene, so it's all staged. All the people who are in the painting were just sitting for the painting. It wasn't an actual service. The Welsh lady hats, which can be seen in the painting, had actually long fallen out of fashion by the time Vosper made the painting. And in reality, it was only Siân Owen who was wearing this hat. The hat was just a prop that Vosper had brought with him, and the other hats in the painting were all modelled on this one hat. Another thing that isn't real is this lady that's sitting behind Siân Owen. Although there was a lady sitting here initially, this person got fed up of the hours it was taking for Vosper to create the painting, so she walked out and she was replaced by a dummy. Probably better show you the rest of the chapel. I'm not sure if it's the same clock. As you can see, they've set the time on the clock to the time that's shown on the painting. The shawl itself wasn't actually Siân Owen's. Siân Owen actually borrowed the shawl from another lady. And even though she's been called the Welsh Mona Lisa, she's actually 70 years old at the time that the painting was made. In a letter to a Welsh newspaper in 1940, Vosper expressed frustration about the theory about the devil. And he said it was an unintended consequence of how he painted the fabric. The rumour about the devil in the shawl was likely fueled by a grain of truth. Vosper did admit to painting a ghostly face in the window of the chapel. It may be that people couldn't find the face in the window and they started looking elsewhere and eventually discovered the much more sensational devil in the grand folds of the paisley shawl. Got another smaller print of the painting here. So Robert Williams, the gentleman who's buried in the cemetery outside, would have been sitting in this pew here. I'm going to have to recreate that. He was the one with his head in his hands. Next to him was Lara Williams. She was the lady who got fed up of posing for Vosper and was replaced by a dummy. Sitting over here was a gentleman called William Shawn. Sitting over here was a lady called ltjones. The red-haired boy called Evan Jones was sitting here. The lady sitting next to him was Mary Rowlands, and she wasn't his mother. Sitting here was Owen Shawn, and he was actually the brother of William Shawn, who was sitting over there. And the star of the show, Siân Owen, was standing here. Siân Owen actually posed again for Vosper in 1910 for another painting, but I'll come back to that later on. Just the view from the back of the chapel. And this appears to be the grave of Robert Williams, who's depicted in the painting. And he's buried with his son, Morris, son of Robert and Jane Williams, the one who died July 5th, 1879, at 11 years old and 10 months. Also, the late Robert Williams, the one who died June 4th, 1922, at the age of 83. And his wife is also buried here, Jane Williams. She died in November 1924 at the age of 83. From here, I decided to go and look for the grave of Siân Owen. The churchyard of St Mary's in the village of Llanfair, which is a couple of miles away from Salem Chapel. There seems to be a number of very old graves here. These would definitely be from the 1700s, I'd say, if not earlier. I have no idea where Siân Owen is buried. She lived for almost 20 years after the Salem painting. So she probably endured quite a bit of gossip about the devil in her shawl. Looks like an interesting churchyard, but we're only here for Siân Owen's today. But I might research this place and might come back here one day. I've located the grave. Her full name is actually Jane Siân Williams Owen, but obviously she was known as Siân. And she's buried with her husband here. George Owens, the one who died May 19th, 1893 at 80 years old. And here she is, also his bride, Jane Owens, the one who died June 21st, 1927 at the age of 90. Siân Owen also appears in Vosper's painting Market's Day in Old Wales. He painted this in 1910. It's actually painted in a farmhouse in or near this village. The painting is actually in the National Museum in Cardiff. There's also a miniature version of the painting in the Queen Mary's Doll's House in Windsor Castle. The farmhouse depicted in the painting was chosen by Vosper because it perfectly captured the domestic atmosphere of the time. And there was two bachelors who were living at the farmhouse, William and Owen Sean, the two gentlemen who appear in the Salem painting.